This has been a very successful R&D to me, because all the obstacles that have appeared have either been solved or you've made serious progress in them in a very short amount of time. The drive that you both have in terms of making sure the dramaturgy is the most clear part before the aesthetic.
Literally, I believe that anyone could have come to this week in the perspective of, you don't need to know a lot about puppetry.
The warm-ups we've been doing have been extremely relevant to our concentration, which has been a key part of, you know, the learning process and stuff like that. There's not been a point where we've done something for the sake of doing it.
There was sort of a very definite structure, a timetable, but then if one of us said, oh, but what about maybe doing this with something, I can't think of an example, and you say, well, let's just try it. But even though it was very well organised, there was a lot of it was really quite spontaneous.
And that's what's been so nice about it, that it's not been a pressure to achieve at the end. It's happened organically.
These basic principles of, you know, the lift-offs, the landings and things like that, because now when we see the objects we can see them with those physicalities, whereas if we tried to devise straight from the off without those things, without these reminders or without these training sessions, we wouldn't have been able to see how the objects animate themselves.
Everybody has an idea, and every idea is valid. So then how do you select ideas? That's hard. So this way, what I do is, and I call it a material-led devising process, is you get your ideas from the material, and usually everybody will say, oh, that, and then you can start arguing about it a bit more. But at least there is a common focus.
You can tell the workshop had an impact, because even when we all went for lunch, Ken, you turned around and you went, oh look, that skip's got a face.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean? Like,
Good. Has it changed the way you see your world outside?
Everything's anthropomorphic now.
Going back to the process, I think it's really easy, just generally, to get bogged down in your outcome and sort of race for the finish. So it's really nice to work in sort of a different way with no, you know, for us really, no pressure on having to create anything. So you do have that freedom to play.
I mean, obviously there's a stress, the pressure. I mean, I have it too. As a director, you're responsible for making it work.
I have absolutely no fears and I know exactly where it's going, but that is really down to Rini.
Because this is your project, and you've done an R&D, and you've been involved in other people's. What is...
It's the object-led thing with this, and I mean, I chose to work with objects, and I'd be interested to see whether you could apply. I was going to ask if anybody thinks they could take what we've learnt here and put on a piece of physical theatre without using puppetry or objects. Where would the same kind of techniques apply?
Yes.
Maybe it's a piece of plastic, so you see what the plastic does, and then you create the character of you based on the qualities of that material.
He said you don't actually have to imitate the cloth, but you get the essence of the movement and put it into dance.
Absolutely.
But I speak for everyone, really, when I say that I feel like I've really got a sense of purpose within the process of this week. I feel like I've given something and also had something, you know, learnt a lot at the same time. And I think that because it was structured with technique in the morning and then giving us creative freedom everybody creative freedom in the afternoon, I think I was able, and I think we all were, to say, okay, this is the technique, I'm learning here, this is great, we're all learning, but also I feel like I've given something back.
When everybody was doing those bags this morning, it was just fantastic. I was sitting there thinking, oh God, how can I get these atmospheres with 3 people? Anyway, those are what we have to solve. If it's not just R&D, if it is a training, but an exchange, then I think it makes sense, because it's fair dues, isn't it? And I'm very happy to hear that you do feel that it has been a fair exchange.
And confidence has grown so much.
And changed the way I will approach our work in doing puppet theatre.
started to think how they would have been thrown away and why they would have been together. And it made me think of a breakfast situation where a husband is reading a paper and the wife is making tea and cooking and blah, blah, blah. And there's been an argument. So he or she has picked everything up and chucked it in the bin.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you want more rhythm and try with it? Yeah. I think this could be the ghost of a child who was shut in the shed because it was naughty.
That's creepy.
Are these some of his trousers or are these...
You keep expecting its head to pop up.
Oh,